before we was talking about was duality of consciousness. But we talked about getting in the zone, or like you called the no look past, and realizing that the body has a consciousness and energy has a consciousness. Because we are both, both energy and matter. But the trip about it is where you can see whereas your gut feeling to tell you things that ain't happened before, so then your energy consciousness is not bound by time like your body consciousness is. Or just like we was talking about being in the zone, and you can see what's going on before it's happening, but you always realize it's kind of like you looking at yourself do things, which is another state of consciousness.
Right.
And to me, what I was just getting into, man, that's not what's talked about, and really, it's not something you got to study in a book. Studying myself was the one thing that got me started on this. Just realizing, trying to find my conscience where it started, and realize, okay, that's a different place. It's like the same place as the dream place, but that place is not here. Because like we were saying earlier, I can't just with my imagination make a color appear before my eyes, but in my state of mind, I can do that. At the same time, being aware, being able to notice something, like watch my body do something, is a consciousness that is with the body but not of the body, which gets into the in it but not of it. Because I think it's not really, deciphered as to what that scripture actually means, but I understand how a person got to that understanding or that knowledge, but it came through just searching oneself. Searching my own conscience, because I mean that's what started this, man. I'm just searching my conscience, man. And I realized, like, even when that gut feeling, when I know shit that I didn't know, that knowing is a sixth sense. Just like that understanding of the because a sense of awareness is something that you don't necessarily have to see or smell or taste or touch or hear. But you just know. But then, now see, that gets into the catch-22 of that. Because here's another state of consciousness. Because how many you realize the difference between being like in the zone state of mind consciousness versus being in your own head. Or me being in my head. And my head can talk a lot of shit, and my head can be led astray. Because you know how you be in your head, like being in your feelings about something.
Yeah.
So you sitting there just running your mouth, but at the same time, sometimes you're talking it out, sometimes you ain't talking it out, you going down a path of craziness, which there's another state of consciousness, because your gut is always going to tell you the truth. The gut is never wrong to me, which is God awareness. But at the same time, we can be in our minds. It's another state of consciousness, has nothing to do with the body, because the thoughts that be going in the mind can have nothing to do with the body, even though they will affect the body. So now we're talking, that's actually acknowledging three states of consciousness. The gut feeling or God consciousness, your mind, mental consciousness, and your body consciousness. But then there's layers within that, because then there's the consciousness of each sense. Mm-hmm. Then there's the consciousness of knowing, because like we was talking earlier, like I was trying to figure out how to change the brakes in the car. I didn't know how to do it, couldn't nobody be on site to show me. So I went and looked at it, and then I asked somebody who was talking to me. Now, when they were telling me about it, I had a knowing, because I had seen it, of that, and that sense of awareness allowed me to visualize it, not create an image in the world, but create an image in my head, so when they spoke about it, I could see what they were talking about. That's another place, because you don't do that here. It's a different state of consciousness. Then when I went and did it and understanding how to apply what they was talking about, then I had an understanding of consciousness of understanding. But at the same time, that's an awareness. It's not a sense in the sense of touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight. It's a sense of knowing, a sense of awareness, which is also another state of consciousness. And then, alright, and then of course then there's the state of understanding, which is then there's the state of wisdom. But really my mind just flipped there, sit there and tripped. Because to me, one of the other things I came up with, was realized with myself, is in that state of being. Mm-hmm. And that's like also that same being in the zone state, because then all you are is. You're not thinking about the past, the present, the future, just in the right now. And that becomes a state of being. But now if we realize, we always know is in that state of being, there we can kind of like perceive the future. Because when you state to be you in the zone, you coming down court, you know whatever the person do, you're going to have the move to counter it. You know this, but you haven't done it yet. But it becomes your state of being. You're in a state of just being ready for whatever and knowing that there's a state of consciousness that knows the counter answer to anything that happens, which is a state of awareness that's beyond space and time. Or is it? It could be so just grounded in space and time that just having the formula, no matter what's input, it automatically calculates. But then there's still the gut state of consciousness that has foresight into the future. But these are all states of consciousness.
Something else too.
Right. And see, to me, this is how it works. When I'm sitting up here having these thoughts in my mind, these ideas, and I'm chewing it down, and I'm using my experiences, it adds more questions, it gets more answers, and more answers get more questions. But what I'm just looking at is in terms of the capability of human consciousness, but it's also a catch-22. It's vulnerability of human consciousness, because that mindset. The mind, which is representative of free will, can be led astray because it can believe whatever it wants. Whereas the states of consciousness that we're talking about in relationship to knowing and being in that zone and having that gut feeling that's always all knowing, all seeing, all aware, it already knows. And we have the choice to align ourselves with it or not. But those consciousnesses are not of the body. And if we're just saying we're composed of body energy, they're of energy. But then there's also the body consciousness that even makes us where we know something's going on wrong with our body. Sometimes we could even know exactly what it is that's going on wrong. What I'm getting into, the whole thing about it to me is the more we become aware of what it is we are in terms of consciousness and then how it interacts, we begin to understand our role and place within nature. Because there's already, as far as I'm concerned, there's already been a law of pattern been laid as far as the nature of things. And I think the human has the greatest capability to be aware of this and participate at the same time.